Good morning. Good day, everyone. My name is Donita Rose S. Habulan, together with my partner Fal Hinuktan, and we will be discussing about the material and economic self. So before we start, let's give you a heads up on what is materialism and consumerism. Materialism is the belief that having money and possessions is the most important thing in life. Historian William Leach, in his book Land of Desire, states that the cardinal features of this culture were acquisition and consumption as the mean of achieving happiness, and money value as the predominant measure of all value in society. On the other hand, consumerism is the state of an advanced industrial society in which a lot of goods are being bought and sold. Historian Peter Streams defines consumerism as a society in which many people formulate their goals in life partly through acquiring goods that they do not need for subsistence or for traditional display. So, living in a consumer society, our lives revolve around shops, supermarkets, new experiences, and new stuff. A world surrounded by image, advertising, marketing, gadgets, and fast fashion. We are supposedly shallow, obsessed with the self, and narcissistic and vain, building our self-esteem through consumption of the things we don't really need. Even at a young age, we already have the desire to own things like toys. Like, nakita na mo anang mga bata nga magligid-ligid sa toy store. Kung dili paliton ang mga ilang gusto nga dulaan, kita na ko ana. Anyways, so at a young age, so pagkabata pa lang nato, natay choice to either be materialistic, obsessed with money and possessions, or we can reject materialism and focus on the more important things, more important matters of the spirit that can potentially guide you to be your happier and better self. So on to our next slide, I have therefore I am. People are slowly realizing that the power of consumption is stopping us from finding our true and sincere happiness, and that shopping often works as a substitute for something that we are missing in life. So what does this mean? There are some people who fill their emptiness with materialistic things. I used to be one of those people. Sa una, gakolek og mga K-pop albums o kanang ilang mga photo cards bitaw. For a moment, it made me happy unboxing K-pop albums, but then after that, you feel empty again, and the cycle repeats. Kanang magbuy ka, masatisfy imong mga serotonin levels, and then you buy again. It's a temporary solution to an inner problem. And as a primary consumer, the issue is about what we buy and what we choose to invest in. So guys, invest in the things that truly make you happy. Like art, travel, sa family ninyo, buy them a gift, or buy them a gift. That's a good way to spend your money. Para sa future po ninyo and para sa mga hobby ninyo like painting, swimming, whatever your hobby is. So, yeah. So, consumption and production. The word consume is defined as to use up, to spend wastefully, and to destroy. The definition shows a negative connotation. There is, however, a positive side to consumption that is often neglected. Behind consumption, there is production. Consumers keep companies alive. These companies pay people whose earnings put food on the table. So just like consumerism, materialism also has a good side and a bad side. In the good side, it helps us to find a way to express ourselves through fashion and makeup. So in a way, the objects we buy gives us an identity. What you buy just depends on what it stands for. An object can symbolize bravery, kindness, and selflessness, but in the bad side, it can transubstantiate the very worst side of humanity, like greed, callousness, and the desire to triumph. So now we are on conscious consumption. Consumers are often portrayed as victims exploited by greedy companies, and however, we should take note that every person has free will. As a consumer, free will comes with responsibility and obligation. Conscious consumption is about practicing responsible buying habits. So we have what we call impulsive buying. It's an irrational behavior where one buys something without planning. Now we should always think twice before buying, especially sa online shopping. Just because we have the money to buy it, it doesn't mean we should. Before buying, question yourself if it's a necessity, if na ay alternatives for the product that can save you money, time, and space. From here, we will move on to psychological and sociological consumption. Consumption has become an addiction. Many people have forgotten there are things in life that can bring true and lasting happiness, such as spending time with family, friends, to have a me time, enjoy nature, to read and engulf yourself with everything that life has to offer. So as the younger generation who is vulnerable to linking our happiness to buying something, we must ensure that the things we invest in and tire ourselves and the planet by making are those that lend most encouragement to our higher and better selves. That would be all for my presentation. I will let Frau Hinuktan continue the discussion.
Identity and consumer culture is a concept that examines how people use products, services, and brands to create and express their identities. It looks at how people use consumption to define themselves in terms of gender, race, class, sexuality, age, religion, nationality, and other social categories. It also looks at the ways in which consumer culture shapes our identities by providing us with symbols that we can use to express ourselves. This includes things like clothing styles or types of cars we drive. Identity and consumer culture is an important area of study because it helps us understand how our identities are shaped by the products we consume, as well as the messages these products send about who we are. On March 1993, argued that identity is a symbolic idea. It is an image we build for ourselves through social interaction. A person's identity is dynamic and context-dependent. It is improved through communication with others and through different ways that a person interacts within the cultural atmosphere and social relations. There are two factors that affect identity. First is social relation of power. Social relation of power refers to the ways in which individuals and groups interact with each other, and how this interaction shapes their identities. Power dynamics can be seen in all aspects of social life, from the workplace to family relationships. For example, a manager may have more power than an employee in a workplace setting, which can affect how they both view themselves and each other. This can lead to the employee feeling inferior or less capable than their manager, thus impacting their identity. Second is a symbolic image of the world. A symbolic image of the world is a map. Maps can be used to represent different aspects of identity, such as nationality, language, and culture. For example, a map of Europe may show the different countries and their respective flags represent each nation's unique identity. Erik Erikson in 1950 was the one who proposed the word identity, a social category defined by membership rules, characteristics, attributes, or expected behaviors. Identity is a socially distinguishing features that an individual takes pride in having. Meanwhile, studies have observed that every waking moment in a modern lifestyle has become a cycle of alternating time-space for work and time-space for consumption. Here are some characteristics and main features of consumer culture. Consumerism is one of the strongest forces affecting modern people's lives. Consumer culture is a culture of consumption. It is a culture of market society. It is universal and interpersonal. Consumer culture identifies freedom with private choices and life. Consumer culture needs are insatiable and unlimited. Consumer culture is a privileged medium for building personal identity and status. Consumerism is a major problem in today's society because it encourages people to focus on material possessions rather than meaningful experiences or relationships. This can lead to feeling of dissatisfaction and unhappiness as people strive for more possession in order to feel better about themselves. Consumerism can lead to environmental degradation due to overconsumption of resources and production of waste. It can also lead to economic inequality as those who are able to purchase more expensive items have access to higher quality goods than those who cannot afford them. The problems of consumerism is it is intrusive, it is manipulative, it cannot provide many of the things that are important to us, it restricts our choices and lives, it affects our worldviews and characters, and it is unsustainable. How can we avoid the trap of consumerism? Consumerism is intrinsically woven into the fabric of modern society. Society needs a cultural shift to move away from the culture of consumerism. Social changes do not happen overnight. Therefore, it is best to take immediate steps in your own life to release yourself from the grip of consumerism. Exercise intellectual independence. Be aware of how consumerism controls your life. Try to defend yourself from unwanted external pressures. Ignore advertising. Think of yourself. Question all information given to you and start looking for information yourself. Consume less, live more. Stop and think about the influence of consumerism in your life. Then think about what really matters to you and how you want to live it. Strive to live the life you want, not how others think you ought to live. That's all. Thank you.